Say she wants some Marvin Gaye, some Luther Vandross, a little Anita, but definitely set this party alright.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Love, Marriage, and Everything in Between. I'm Shan.
I'm DTP.
And thanks for joining us.
So here we are. A lot has occurred since the last time we recorded. We talked about sinners on our last episode.
Yeah, episode 5. This is episode 6.
And we still haven't seen it again to kind of go over it again, but hopefully everybody tapped in. That was a great movie to see.
Great movie.
But I wanted to start with something a little different this week. So
Okay.
I want to share 2 things that people may not know about you, and you can share 2 things that people may not know about me.
Okay. No, I can't wait to hear what you're going to say about me.
All right, so I think most people, except your super close friends, wouldn't know that you had a pit bull named Killer when you were younger. Mm-hmm. And that not only do you love basketball, but you were very good at basketball. And I think a lot of people probably don't know that because you're 4'11".
I'm 5'2".
4'11", 5 feet, and you're very girly, but some of my best memories is our sons growing up, and I think DJ was in the 7th grade, and he was about 5'10" before he could beat you, and Trey was 7th grade too, I think, right?
Or maybe later.
8th grade.
Maybe later, because DJ always had height.
Yeah.
Trey had skill.
And grit. So he was maybe, at that age, he was about, 5'2"?
Yeah, but you know what?
He was good.
Yeah.
He could shoot. Trey could shoot real good. So that's how he beat you. Mm-hmm. So that's 2 things. What you got? Be careful now. Be careful. Tread lightly.
Well, this is off the cuff, so, man. The first thing that popped in my head, I would say most people probably don't know that you're OCD. You know, you're very meticulous about things. So I would say, number one, I don't think people know that you're OCD. Mm-hmm. But he's the type of person where so you have guests over and he's cleaning up while the guest is still there. Like babe, that's rude.
Yeah.
So
I like things a certain way at all times.
Yeah, so he's that guy. Like, you're having a dinner party, and instead of enjoying the dinner party,
I enjoy it.
Yeah, no, you don't. Mm-hmm. And something that I was actually bringing this up, something that I was actually mad about with your OCD.
You're talking about mad about when? Early in our
No.
marriage?
I'm about to tell you. During my grandmother's repast, you left the repast to go get something out of the...
I left my coat in a limousine.
Yes, which you could have got after the repast. But it's like your OCD was like, oh, I got to get it now. And I was like...
But that was after everything was situated. I made sure the DJ, the food, and all that was good.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, I didn't like it.
Okay,
I didn't like it. That actually blew me. So that's number one, OCD.
Okay.
Number 2... you're very clean, and I don't.
What? Why wouldn't people know that about me? I don't show up smelling or anything.
No. It's a lot of layers to you getting yourself together, and I love it. I'm saying that because most men is not going to take the time to do everything that you do. It's a lot of layers when you get yourself together, and I love that. But I'm saying, like, most men are just going to throw some things on and just, but not you. You really are calculated as far as getting yourself together, and I guess that ties into you.
I think I'm calculated with everything, though.
Yeah, but that ties into, I probably would say that ties into you having OCD, whereas though, you getting together, I'm a female and I get together first. So it's just like I'm
Come
waiting
on,
for.
now you're putting it out there
No,
like I'm a
no,
prima donna or
no,
something.
no. I'm just keeping it real. I mean,
Okay.
I'm
It's
ready
right.
before you.
Right.
Real? That's
Right.
real, right?
Yeah, that's real.
All
That's
right.
real.
So that's two
But
things.
that's not all the time. I mean, that's
You said two things.
That's
All the.
occasion. I mean, that's occasionally that.
Why are
you
you
might be
doing
ready.
that? Why are you doing that? You asked me for two things people may not
No,
know about you.
you're
Okay.
right. But I'm saying it's not every time you're
Okay.
getting together.
Number one, he's OCD. Number two, he takes a long time to get ready. So that's two things.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Let's make it three things. I want to share something else now.
Petty.
Nah, we good. That's cool. But I thought that'd be fun because I think a lot of people look at you and I, and it's just some things they I thought you was going to say like my eating habits. Like I don't eat. You have to decide like what we're going to eat. Otherwise, I kind of just eat so my stomach won't hurt.
You thought that's what I was going to say?
I did because you say that because you always want me to make a decision with eating, and now that I'm eating fish again, it's like I really just don't care. My desire for food has like really changed, in the last few years. So
Okay.
but so what you got? What we talking about today?
Well, to start us off, do you mind if I use your phone?
Nope, one more thing. So
What?
I know you said we want to change the title to Countertop Talk because that's really what it is.
Yeah, so right now, and maybe people can chime in. So right now, our logo says love, marriage, and everything in between. So with our YouTube channel, it's called Taylor Pay TV, where we have a whole bunch of different things on there. And then this segment, we have love, marriage, and everything in between. We're married. We talk about different things, our businesses, our kids, family, yada, yada, yada. So we were thinking about changing the name from love, marriage, and everything in between to Countertop Talk.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, so just tell us your thoughts on that, your opinion, something in the comments. But we was thinking maybe change the name since we're sitting at the counter having casual discussions. So we was
everyday
thinking,
life.
yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
We'll
Kudos
see.
to you. Great idea.
Okay.
So you got my phone. I don't have my readers on today.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So I wanted to bring up to you something that's been trending. Ace Metaphor was on the Cam Newton show. He sat down and he talked about, his point of view of heterosexual men not really liking women. And he's saying that basically men like women, like for sexual things, they look at women as a sexual object, but really not as a partner, So that was something that he said on Cam Newton, and it's been trending, and like a lot of guys have been coming out saying that they don't agree with his statement. And then you have a lot of women that is coming out and say they agree with him. That's spot on. And I just wanted to know what's your take on that. He's saying, let me paraphrase it. He's saying that majority of heterosexual men look at women as a sexual object and they really don't like them. They don't like them.
I mean, that's his opinion. I mean, I think that's crazy to say. That's crazy. I mean, I know men from all walks of life, formerly incarcerated businessmen, everyday men, fathers, brothers, uncles, to say that men don't like women. I mean, that's a strange statement to me, because why wouldn't you love women? That's one. I mean, heterosexual man, why wouldn't you love women? What is there to not like, but I know a lot of times you say you feel like men aren't rocking with women right now, right? But for me, I know Mother's Day passed, right? I know the toughest of guys, they going to hell and back for their mother. Men that have sisters, love their sisters. You know, will do anything. That's the karma rule with the homies. You know, I'm great friends with this person. His sister is off limits. That's love, right? Mm-hmm. Your wife, right? I mean, men are married. You know, not all men. I don't know the percentages of men, but are you marrying somebody? You don't have to marry somebody just for sexual activity. But I don't know how any man could say that he doesn't love or like women. Now, do I feel like women aren't as protected as they were, which is my favorite era from the 60s and the 70s? Yes. But the statement is kind of, you kind of caught me off guard with that. It's kind of strange for a man to say men don't like women.
Well, I will say this. As a woman, I agree with his analogy of it, because I'm going to go to the church with it. Now, before I go to the church with it, as an example, he's not talking about every heterosexual man. He's talking about, like, overall, like, how men view women. Like, you know, the term, I'm the head of the household, a woman needs to listen to me. Now, that right there is kind of like somebody's supposed to listen to you because you are a man. Like, if we break that down, that's saying somebody got to listen to somebody because they're white.
So he's a chauvinist. I mean,
no,
like,
he's not a chauvinist. He's putting it out there where, so for men, take the time to understand a woman. Take the time to understand what a woman brings, because a lot of times men don't realize what a woman brings besides sexual gain or sexual favors. That's that's basically what he is trying to say. Like, men, get to know a woman. You get to know a woman besides sexual gain, you'll understand how special women are. So when I talk about the church, how many times have been to a church, mm-hmm. and a woman may not be allowed to be the lead pastor? Why? Why is that? But a woman, she can, cook. She can cook for the church. She can manage that part of the church. She may be able to manage the books of the church, the financial books of the church, but she can't
all the
be
things to keep the church together. But she can't.
Yeah, but she can't be the face of the church. She can't be the head pastor. So I just think it was a good topic, because it does have people talking. So I seen a man on social media saying, "Oh, he's crazy," saying some stuff like that. Like, what is wrong with him? He's sick in the head, So
I think it's it would have been better for him to say men are ignorant to the full capabilities of a woman, because it's really ignorance. I mean, to me, that's more so like a boyish statement. So if you could say, okay, when you're a young male, you're a young adult, mm-hmm. you see women sexually, 17 through 21, 25, I don't have what?
I think older men still look at women like that. I don't think a man grows out of that thought process unless they have some type of experience for them to grow out of that, because you do have older men that are still immature and think like that, and so you have men like I would say you for an example, you don't think like that. You like women, you appreciate what women bring to the table. However, you have some men, you feel the energy. You have some men that feel like you are to be seen and not heard.
Yeah, but I mean, ultimately, we don't know the numbers, but yeah, I think that's a cat and caveman type mentality because, again, yeah, you could have men within our age group that feel like that, but it's still ignorance. It's not an excuse at this age. I'm not saying it's an excuse at a younger age, but just men, your hormones as a younger male, you're looking at women sexually. You're not looking to really get down into the layers of a woman, of how a woman can enhance you, in so many ways. The vision of a woman, with a man, with a business, the perspective, so I don't agree with it. I don't agree with the ideology of your woman is just your trophy, but at the same time, if you are at the age group that we are within your 40s and you're looking at a woman for only sexuality, then that's a deeper issue with the man. I just think that we at this big age, we should get it.
Yeah,
we
should
get it.
But I think that's the point he was making. That's the point that he was making to get the conversation started. And I think a lot of men, just from what I seen on social media, were offended with what he said, which speaks to, I would say, the lack of growth. Because if you listen to what he's saying, all that he's saying is women have more to bring to the table
than just
sex.
Right. Yeah, and I think a lot of that plays into, we have been programmed as men that you are the head of the household. One, the man takes care of the household. Okay. The man is superior to the woman.
Yes.
And those, to me, are European ideologies, because I do not believe that you see a lot of imagery of of Africa, of the women that are walking miles with baskets on their head for fruit, water. You may have the men that are pursuing the wildlife for things to eat, or building, things of that sort. So they are roles, but I think those roles together is what makes a man and a woman so great.
Ding, 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 ding. You hit it on the head. That's what I think a lot of people are missing. I feel like right now, and you see it on Twitter, like Twitter is like so toxic, or, X is what they call it now. You see so much back and forth between men and women. It's sickening. But the goal is partnership. If you're doing things together, working together, like you said, the man is building, the man is using his strength. The woman may be using technique. We don't have the physical strength that men have, so we're going about things differently.
Right.
But you're bringing two aspects together, and that will provide a successful union. Two is always better than one. But if you have two people that's competing against each other, or you have another person that think, hey,
competing against your spouse,
yeah, man, it happens on a daily. That's why they say, are you sleeping with the enemy? You have a lot of spouses that may be jealous of the other spouse, or jealous of what the other spouse bring to the table. And when you hear a man say things like that, you have to listen to me, or I'm the man, or I'm the head of the household. Just be the head of the household. You don't have to make an announcement about it. Also, number two, for me, for me, it's about winning. So if your idea is going to bring us a W,
right,
let's do it.
Right.
To me, it doesn't matter who brings the idea. It's about win and losses. That's what it's about. And I feel like you can kind of see how a man move if he cares about who makes the decision versus winning and losing.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I think a lot of that is just in our DNA of, men are naturally competitive. Now, I'm not saying you should be competitive in a relationship, but it goes back to that ideology that head a household. So I think for me, as I become wiser in age, I've been humbled just by seeing things, reflecting on things. And have I had a lot of great ideas? Yes, I have. Have you had a lot of great ideas? Yes. But I recognize, it goes back to what you said earlier, OCD, I recognize results. Mm-hmm. And we talked about this on the date night podcast that we did, how you and I operating as a team, I'm taking my odds every single time because we move like 6 to 8 people. Right?
We moving like a unit.
Yeah, 6 to 8 people, like the SEALs, And at the end of the day, I know what I'm capable of. I know what you're capable of. But I mean, it's like a triangle offense. I love basketball, so it's like a triangle offense. Like, I'm doing this, you're doing this. You're doing that,
getting at it.
So
we getting at it.
I recognize results. I don't, like you said, I don't care how we get the W, how we get the win. I'm recognizing results. And I've seen throughout our years, we've had our bumps and bruises when we were young. I mean, we've been together 21 years, getting to know each other. We actually grew up together, right? But when you get to that point as a man, when you start to humble yourself, it doesn't take anything from me to rely on you in ways to enhance me. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't take anything from you, your character, your resume, or anything to pull things from me. And I just think it's that macho thing of like, no, I'm the man, but that's verbal. Results.
To me, you say it's macho, to me is insecurity. To me that's a insecure man when you want your lady to dim their light, or you want your lady to play her role, and you may be sitting on a diamond, a woman that just have a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of information, but you're like, put baby in a corner, right? Because you want to have the shine. It comes off as insecure. So I'm glad. I'm very thankful for what we have, and I'm glad that the conversation is going because, I think it needs to be addressed, because at the end of the day, we're stronger together. Having a partner, it's just so much more you can get accomplished, where still you're trying to run things on your own. You're trying to dominate, and that mindset of want to dominate somebody. I want to dominate this person. I want to make all the decisions. I want to lead. It's just like it's cringy, because it's like.
Also with that, like, to want to lead and you're leading somebody to disaster, it's like, wow. That's wild to me. Like, okay, I want you to follow me, and 8 out of 8 times that you have followed me with this, I failed. And to think that you're going to follow me 1 more time, 2 more times, 3 more times, something is not registered, right? Because if I do want you to follow me, I want you to follow me with the understanding that there's a reason, a positive reason that you are following me. If I'm following you, it's the same thing. But to think that you should follow me and I'm not qualified to lead you in the way in which I'm following you, it just doesn't make sense. And that's where the humility comes in at. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, it's a partnership. I mean, why wouldn't you want a partner? Why wouldn't you want? I mean, that word partner is huge. Whether it's in business, whether it's in your marriage, you're teaming up with somebody because you have better chances of winning together.
Yeah, and I think for the most part, you know, I don't want to muddy the waters here, but I will say the women that I know that are married, it's about that partnership. However, they are married to men, including myself, that are like naturally leaders, you know, naturally lead, and you know, they know what their woman bring with the enhancement. They're not
Yeah.
insecure.
They know who they are too.
Yeah, they're not insecure. But women do want a man to lead, but you can't be, you know, thinking you're going to dominate somebody and you're just like all over the place. Your
Right.
finances is not in order. Your whole life is a mess, but you want to,
Right.
you know, lead a woman, you know,
Right.
get yourself together, lead by an example, you know, but women do want a guy to take charge, not dominate.
Yeah, you should. I agree with that.
Okay.
I agree with that.
So if I was breaking it down, so what's your thoughts on the gas ace metaphor now? Do you still feel like that's strange or weird what he
I mean,
said,
from
or
that perspective, understanding and the layers of a woman, yes. But the initial question of or statement, men don't like women. That was, you know, I don't coincide with that. But I understand it from a different perspective now, and yeah, you know.
yeah.
Yeah,
I appreciate
my
you.
woman.
No, I appreciate my
you.
man.
Yeah. And I appreciate what we have been able to accomplish. I appreciate our failures, you know, and I appreciate our journey and our bounce back from those failures. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I wouldn't have it no other way.
Yeah, so I love you so much.
I love you too, babe. I love you too. So, all right. So the next thing is there was a motivational speaker that a few weeks ago said that black business is a scam. And my opinion on that is it pushed me back. It pushed me back because that is a dangerous statement. So a lot of times when people say things to me, such as that, I automatically think, so what is the opposite? What is the contrary to that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Black business is a scam. So what's the opposite of black business?
White business.
White business, Asian business. You know, the list can go on. So you're saying that's not a scam, right? And that really pushed me back, and it angered me because I come from a family of entrepreneurs, right? And there's different levels of that. I grew up with my mother having a stand at the flea market, selling used clothes, selling flower arrangements. No, that wasn't a scam because that's how I got clothes when I was younger. My clothes came from the flea market, right? My mother was able to pay bills and keep a roof over our head, living in West Baltimore in an apartment from her earnings from the flea market. You know, her selling used clothes, her washing these clothes, finding clothes in thrift stores, washing them, pressing them up, ironing them, folding them up, selling them, putting them in a package, taking them to the flea market and selling them. My uncle, he owned a bar on Emerson Avenue, right? That wasn't a scam. That was a place where I wanted to own that bar when I grew up, right? Because I would see people come there. He would have me to help him bring in inventory, bring in the liquor, put it on the shelves, just showing me how business operates. And I seen people come to his bar for the cut rate, where they would get liquor to go. He had a back where there was a TV. People would drink, people would dance. And I don't know those people's circumstances, but I know when they came to my uncle's bar, they were happy. You know, That wasn't a scam. This is the same uncle that helped me with books and tuition when we went to college.
So what do you think his intent was with saying that black businesses are a scam? And also he commented and said, don't have somebody to support your business because it's black.
Yeah.
You know, it's black
It's
owned.
egregious.
You know, what else you got going
It's
on?
egregious.
You think I'm gonna support you just because you're a black business?
Yeah, but I mean, this is the same person that you're a black business, right?
But what do you think is his intent? Because it's always a intent. It's always a why. Because
I think his intent is what he stated. His intent is do not support businesses because they say they are black. And he made the only point that I do agree with, like he was saying, is that you can't think you're going to treat people a certain way and they're going to buy from you because you're black. But I still think it's egregious. Like the things that we have to go through as black entrepreneurs is different. It's different. We've talked about this in other episodes. We don't have the resources that our counterparts have, right? Mm-hmm. We don't have the capital in most cases that our resources have, right? So we got to do the best that we can do to get to where we are. So for me, if you're going to say don't support any business that is encouraging you to purchase from them because of the color of their skin, okay, I can get behind that slightly. But to single out black businesses when you have benefited from black business. How many people had a person in the neighborhood that sold frozen cups for 25 cents? How many people had uncles and aunts and mothers and fathers that bought Lucy cigarettes in the neighborhood because somebody broke down a cigarette pack and sold them? I mean, like, come on. We're going to sit up here and say that black businesses is a scam? Now, I wholeheartedly believe that I should not expect you just to support me because I'm black, but at the same time, if you are one of those individuals, such as myself, that I want to enrich my community, yes, I'm going to put it out that I'm a black business. And I'm going to give you the same service that I would give everybody else. But it's dangerous. It is dangerous when you have a platform of 1 million people following you and you're saying don't support businesses because it's black, because it's black.
Yeah.
Let me say one more thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to get in
I
here
know,
like double dutch.
Let me, I'm passionate about this topic right here. So we already deal with the internal conflict within our race with each other because there's a higher expectation. Okay. Then we deal with our counterparts not supporting our business because we're black. So again, I can say that with my 437 followers, I wouldn't say it. I could say something like that. People ain't even want to see it.
I don't think anybody should say anything like that that's black. I mean, here's why. The language is very, like you said, very dangerous, okay? It's very dangerous, and I feel like it's inaccurate, and also it shows a lack of intelligence. Just knowing what the history is of black people. I mean, we had the Green Book, you know, where so we had to know what businesses to go to, what areas to go to, what not to go to. You know, so people, to me, if you're saying you're a black business, it's a statement of saying it's safe. You're safe. You're in a safe space. I see you. I respect you. Mm-hmm. I know how hard you work for your dollar. You can come here and you can, you know, just be at peace and at ease. Right. You know, so when somebody say they are a black owned business, that's how I look at it because I know the history of our people. Mm-hmm. So if you're saying that, okay, people just saying that they are black business and they expect you to give them their money is totally ignorant and totally shows that you're not well read. You know, like, no, a lot of people say that they're a black business. It's a directory. It's a directory. Absolutely. And to sit up here and say that, you know, black businesses give bad service, you got to wait in line, you got to do this, you got to do that. So a lot of other businesses as well. and it came off as if all these other groups are winning in the business category, but black people are not winning in the business category, and you really should not support black businesses. You're supposed to support black business because they have a good product or they have a good service. Okay, that goes without saying. You shouldn't support any business that is not giving you the service that you deserve. I mean, money is hard to come by, but to put a label on it as if black businesses is the only businesses that show up in a certain manner of disarray, unprepared, unorganized, it's just wrong, and you're doing yourself you're doing your community a disservice.
Definitely. So let's go a step further. So you're saying black business is a scam, right? But the last time I checked, their business is motivational speaking. Mm-hmm. Is there any degree involved? Any paperwork on that?
I don't know if he got paperwork, but I know a lot of times people do get certified of being like a life coach, but I don't know if he's certified.
Right. So one could say that you're a scam, right?
Yeah.
But the other part is that being incarcerated, let's really go deeper, right? Being incarcerated, there are a lot of opportunities you're not afforded. Even though you've given your time back to the state or whatever, the time that you served, when you come home, there are a lot of people, such as my uncle, who have to create their own business for income, right? One doesn't want to do the same things that got them in a penitentiary.
Right.
They want to take care of their family. Okay, you're not hiring me because I have a felony. You're not hiring me because I have a felony. You're not hiring me because I have a felony. So I'm going to create an excavating business. So you telling me that these men and women that were once felons that have come home and creating a way for themselves to make income based on a skill set that they've been gifted with or they've taught themselves about, that's a scam?
No, but let's go into like the intent. We have addressed it, the examples of, you're saying this is a scam. We addressed that. But to me, a question we should pose is what's the intent, behind him saying that. I mean, he's selling tickets. I mean, the place was packed with people to hear him speak. I'm quite sure the tickets wasn't free. When people have those platforms like that, you have to pay to see them. You have to pay to hear what they have to say.
Right.
And to show up and say that, I mean, it was kind of like, who's sponsoring you? To me, who's sponsoring you? Who's backing you? Who is your financial plug? Because what's the intent? Because you have a vast following.
To minimize black business.
Yeah, you have a vast following. So to put that message out, what is that message doing? It's going to deter people.
Right.
Like, yeah, he said, black businesses are a scam. Don't just support. I'm not supporting somebody because they're black, what they're bringing to the table. I'm not going to give them a second chance because you know what? They was late getting my food or they messed up my order. What is the intent?
All skin folk ain't kinfolk.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I guess everybody has a price. You put me in that situation, and I stand on that. I mean, I'm I'm kind of going through something now, right? It's you can't put $1 on my character. You can't put a dollar amount on the integrity and what I believe in. But yeah, the intent is to further destroy our community, because why would you say that? I mean, right now, black businesses and entrepreneurship is at an all-time high. So yeah, the intent is malice, but yet you sold tickets, right? And again, I ask, is there paperwork involved with the credentials in which you label yourself as, right?
Yeah, man, that's sad, what we have to go through and what we do, what we do to each other for, a couple of dollars to be bought and sold. And that's how I looked at it. What's the intent behind this message? Because, you can have a bad experience with any situation. It's not like it came across as if you're going to have this experience with a black business, but if you
Right.
go to another business, you're not going to have that type of experience. And as a black business owner, I would say this: anybody, it don't matter what color you are, if you're not getting the service that you deserve, don't support that business.
Right.
Don't support that business, and that's how I roll. Like,
And don't
hold up.
support that business with your actions, not with slander.
Yeah, now, yes, but I I love to eat. I love to go out, and I'm not just going to black only places. I go to different places. But if I'm not getting the service that I deserve, I'm not going to support that place. And we travel a lot, and I will point out the Ritz Carlton all day. Their service is hands down. If something is wrong, they're going to take the initiative to make it right. And they have like this policy where as though anybody can make it right with you up to $2,000 if you have an issue. It could be anybody from the housekeeping to the bartender. Anyone can make it right. That's their policy. They want you to be happy, and they treat you that way. Now, you do have other luxury hotels that don't have that model. I know you love One Hotel. I do not like One Hotel. They have a nice scenery, and their hotel landscape is beautiful. I like that they are like into the being green and recycling things like that, but they don't bring their A game when it comes to service. They, to me, in my opinion, compared to the Ritz, no, absolutely not. But I'm not going to say all white establishments are bad because of my experience with Hotel One. I'm just would prefer to book with the Ritz versus One Hotel. So I just feel like him doing that is just like, what is the intent and why are you putting that message out? And so I just feel like this: when you're following people, just do your own research. Don't take somebody's word for it based upon their experience or saying what they have experienced. Find out for yourself. Experience things for yourself. And, a lot of times you may have to give somebody a second chance. But why are you giving them a second chance? Are you giving them a second chance? Hey, the food was good, but I didn't like the service. The service was kind of shaky, but the food was real good, so I'm gonna give them another try. Or my meal wasn't that good, but the service was first class. So just use your own cognitive skills to figure out what's best for you. Don't let somebody make that decision when it comes to your own community.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this: black business is important. I respect all black businesses. And again, if I'm not satisfied with any business, I just won't support them again. That's it. But I think we also need to think of why so many individuals have went into business for themselves that are African American, because the corporate structure doesn't fit them. You get to a certain age where
Or support them.
Yeah, it doesn't support them. You get to the age where you have a certain tolerance of things, microaggressions, racism. There's a lot of things. So you say, you know what, I'm gonna go into business for myself. Then you have individuals where going to college in a corporate setting isn't best for them. I grew up with some people that are good with their hands, so maybe they go into plumbing, or maybe they decide, hey, I want to open a business being an electrician. The black business is very important that for our community and for us to have options. So I just want to say I appreciate any black business, whether you've been in business 1 year or 10 years, because I know it's very hard to run a black business, to get to that point of running a business. And even if you failed at a business, you tried. You actually attempted to do something different, and maybe you go back at it and do it again with a new business plan, a new model, and figure out how you're going to conquer it. But black business is very important. I respect anybody that has a business?
Yeah, I know with my business, I would say 98% of my customer base is Black. So I definitely appreciate everybody that support me.
Shout out
And
to Mabel Gang.
yeah,
Hashtag Be More Mabel.
yeah.
At Be More Mabel.
Yeah, I appreciate that because something that I always do every time we're only open for 2 days. I thank them because you can always spend your money somewhere else. You can always go somewhere else. So my base, the majority of my base it's Black, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you understand that people have options, and again, you don't have the expectation that you better buy from me because I'm Black. You have the expectation that I'm cooking every meal with love, and I would hope that you come back and support us again. And you see that. I mean, you have regulars.
Yeah. And my goal is to be a directory. I want people to know it's a safe space because I have been in places where it wasn't a safe place. So when you come over here, you're safe. You don't have to worry about rudeness. You don't have to worry about not being acknowledged. You don't have to worry about not being seen, not feeling comfortable. So I'm always shouting out that this is a Black business because I just want you to have that comfortability.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that was a good countertop discussion this week.
Yes. So do you have any plans for the rest of the week?
I'm just staying focused. I'm laser focused right
Yes,
now.
it's that OCD, you laser focus.
I'm laser focused, and at the end of the day, it's up. I'm just laser focused. I know what I need to do, and I'm doing it. I'm going to continue to do it.
Okay.
How about you?
Working and just getting in the gym. I've been trying to just work out every day. That's a goal I have set, to have no days off with working out.
75 days.
Yeah, so just working out. I've been killing it in the gym. I've been working out like 2 hours a day, and it feels good. It's like, you're getting your body together, but it's also a mental relief, and I'm enjoying that. I've brought a lot of books that have been on my reading list. I'm going to dive into that. I love to read. That's something that you could have stated about me, like 2 things that people may not know about.
I think people know you love to read. I mean, you read anything.
Yeah, people that's
anything that has words on it, you're reading.
Yeah, I love to read. So
I think people know that.
Okay. All right. Well, that's that. So do you have any, we always end with like a little takeaway for the week,
Yeah.
informative.
Since we're talking about men, men is very important, especially as we get wiser. We encountered in the last month 3 people that had heart attacks, 3 men, and our health is very important. I know a lot of men feel like going to the doctors is not it. Man, please go to the doctors. Take your multivitamins, not just a label that says multivitamin. Look on the back of it. Understanding your body, understanding your diet, what you need to intake to have the best version of you is very important. So, the things that we're eating, exercise, expressing yourself to other men or to your spouse. But I do think that as the protectors of our women and of our families, we got to be in the best shape. That's mentally, that's physically, and that's spiritually. So take your health as important as you take is getting that bag. And we got to be here. We need to be here for a long time.
Yes, sir. So for me, I would say my message will be for the women, okay? May is Mental Health Month. Make sure you are taking care of you. Get to the gym. Carve out some time for you, whatever that looks like. Go to yoga. Go to the movies. Go out to lunch, even if it's by yourself. But just make sure you're getting that time for you. And what else? That's basically it. That's basically it. And I hope everyone enjoyed their Mother's Day as well, So we'll see you guys next week, and be blessed and be safe.
That she wants some Marvin Gaye, some Luther Vandross, a little